This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so before going to APN, I would like to tell you guys it's an APN is a one low code technology. So it's something. It's not like you need to do all the coding and all. So we'll be having some drag and drop components. Like we'll be having we'll be having some configuration. It's very minimal coding. For example, if you're doing, let's say there are so many core languages like Java, .NET, and different full stack and all, right? So in this technologies, you need to write 100% of coding. Okay, so but whereas in this tools like low code tools like APN and all, here you don't need to do this 100% of coding. Okay, minimum 20% of coding is enough to do APN development. Okay, so it's not something like only CSE people can do this and only IT background people will be able to understand this language. It's not something like that. And by the way, I am also not like pure IIT guy. So, but here now I am able to do all the development in APN. Okay. So before going that, so APN is one APN is one application development tool. Okay. When I say application in simple terminologies, I would say, for example, whatever your mobile applications or Amazon or Flipkart, there are shopping applications, right? So there are developed. So it's developed by one software. Okay. The same way, even APN also will develop that kind of applications. Okay. What even web applications we can build, and we can build mobile applications as well. Okay, so we have a separate Android or iOS application in Play Store as well. Okay, so we can build low code applications. Okay, in very minimal time. Okay, so whereas in Java, like if you are going with Java, .NET or full stack. Okay, whatever the let's say I'll take one Amazon application. Okay, to build that application in Java, .NET, it may take it's a random this it may take it's around 2 years. But whereas in APN, you will be able to build the same application in 7 to 8 months. Okay, so you can deliver this application in within 7 to 8 months. So that much faster we can build applications in APN. Okay, so this is what as a simple intro for APN. Okay, but from where it came. Okay, so before that, usually in IT, okay, you as you all know, in IT we'll have two types of works. Okay, one is front end and another one is a back end. Okay, so in IT we'll have front end and back end. Okay, in front end and back end we have three layers. Okay, which is a presentation layer, application layer, and database layer. Okay, so these are the three layers. Usually in general in any IT applications, we usually will have these three layers. Okay, but whereas in APN, whereas in Java or in .NET, you need to build the presentation layer and the application layer and database layer. Okay, but in APN, this application layer will be built by APN team. Okay, it's a vendor tool. It's an APN team will build an application layer and a presentation layer. Okay, so we need to use that application layer. Okay, we need to use that functions. We need to use that plugins, and we need to use that components. So we don't need to build any application layer and all. Okay, so that's where we are like coding got reduced in Appian tools. Okay, it's some Appian tool. But whereas in Java and .NET, you need to build that presentation layer, which we called as UI, which you are seeing. Like, for example, if you open Amazon application, you are landing in some screen, right? So you need to build that layer, and background, you need to build application layer as well. So you need to manage that data in database layer. So you need to do all this work in Java and .NET and full stack, all these technologies. But whereas in APN, you no need to work on these layers. So APN team will take care all these things. We need to use that application. That's it. Whatever the layers which they have built it, we are using that layers and we are building that application. So faster than .NET and Java. Clear? Any questions?
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Hello, Sirisha, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
If you want to use this language as a full stack version, can we use it like for everything?
Uh, no, will not. It's not something like full stack version. Okay, in full stack version, you will be building all these things, right? So it's
No,
not
no.
something like that.
Can
APN
we
we will.
can we use this APN for that? Same as that?
Yes, yes, we can do. I'm going to talk about something. We have two types of things, which is a B2B, which is business to business. I thought of talking further later, which is business to business
Okay.
and business to customer. Okay, so in business to business, what it will happen, the end user, let's say for example we have one bank. Okay, so when business to business we have two types of applications. Okay, business to customer and business to business. Okay, when I say business to customer, we'll have this net banking and all, right? We'll have credentials we can access from anywhere. Okay, so end user itself can directly can do they can do their works in like in applications and apps without going to the bank, right? So that is business to customer. Okay, but in business to business, usually like in internal things, let's say when you apply a house loan and you're going to apply a house loan, there are some formalities of work and they'll have some procedures, right? So to manage that paper flow, to manage that workflow, they have come up with this automation tools like APN and all. Okay, so when you say about this full stack will support B2C and you will be able to develop an applications in B2C and B2B as well. But APN is keenly working on B2B applications only. Actually, we do have B2C things also, but it's coming in recently. We got in our releases. It was not completely implemented. It was there on the proposal. Hope in next 2 3 versions we can build B2C applications as well in perfectly in APN as well. Did I answer your question, Rahul? Like, do you want me to explain again?
Hi, Surisha. This is Hani Aftab, simply
Okay.
Hani.
Hi.
So we, by my understanding, so we can say it has a inbuilt coding kind of thing. We no need to
Yes.
code anything. Okay, not
Uh,
only it has all codings. As is it likewise that?
Yes, I'll not say we'll not have no code. Okay, it's I'm
Mm-hmm.
like in I think on first itself I said it's a low code technology. I didn't say it's a no code technology. Okay, it's a low code. It's not no code. So as you said, we'll have pre-developed application. We need to use that application to build our applications. That's it. So you don't need to do complete coding. So will be something like when you're you'll be having some drag and drop components mostly. Okay, for that components you need to guide or you need to tell to that component how to work. Okay,
Okay. For
so
example,
that
in Java platform, we do have some syntax kind of thing, and we will be
yes.
writing some coding in that.
Hmm.
So likewise, right?
Uh, yeah, in Java you'll be having some syntax and all, but in
Yeah.
APN you no need to follow any like some syntaxes and all. So let's say in
Okay.
Java, if you wanted to develop one text field like one box, okay, let
Yes.
me show you an environment level. I'll quickly open my environment, okay, to for better understanding. Wait, I just wanted to open. Sorry, just a minute. So this is something environment looks like this. Okay. To answer your question, I'll quickly open some UI. I'll walk you through all these things, but this is something like this. Okay, you'll be having few components here. For example, if you want in one UI, if you want one text field, you don't need to write complete logic to build text field and all. You can directly drag and drop the text field. Okay, the only point what you need to do here, how to save, like way to save this. For example, when end user or when customer is entering some data, you need to capture somewhere, right? So those kind of things you need to configure.
Okay. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
so you don't need to build this text field. Okay, so it's already built in application layer. We need to drag and drop it, and we need to tell like how to store and where to store, and how to provide validations and all. Like, see, on top layer it was already built it, but if you wanted to kept any validations, or if you wanted to capture any data somewhere, so that kind of configurations we need to do.
Okay. Okay. Like the initial
Okay.
part, it will be easy. We don't need to build it from the scratch.
Exactly.
Okay.
You don't need to build it from scratch. It was already, we have predefined layouts and predefined inputs and predefined patterns. So most of the UI design will use these things only. Okay. If we needed something else, we'll do some coding and all. It's a very minimal coding. It's not something you need to you need to write like hundreds or thousands of lines of code.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
That's
Thank you, Srija.
Hello?
yes.
Hello, Sirisha. I have one doubt. Is this APN tool have any restrictions regarding language or it supports any programming language?
Actually, APN core application layer is running on Java. Okay, and we don't have something like you need to know this Python and Python, Java, .NET. APN itself is having their own language. Okay, so we need to follow some. Like, we have some predefined function, like when you are calling this text field, you need to follow some rules. Okay, you should call with a bank, like this is the APN syntaxes. Okay, so you need to follow these things only. So you cannot use the other languages.
Hi, Srisha.
Yes.
Hi, this is Lakshmi. So I'm just asking, like, for application layer, we need to use that coding language which you have mentioned, right? This
Yes.
APN language.
Yes.
Okay. So we don't need any other coding language other than this APN language.
Yes, you no need to learn any other languages other than APN. The only thing what I can suggest, we in our program we have SQL also.
Mm-hmm.
If you have this SQL knowledge, it would be good.
Okay.
Okay, because I am coming to that point as well. Okay,
Okay.
so
Sure.
before going to this APN and what is IT and what is APN, I would like to tell you one thing. Usually, like if you guys are aware, we have legacy systems and all, right? So after this legacy systems, most of the B2B or B2C things come up with this BPM tools. Okay, so we have so many BPM tools. Okay, and that part APN is one of the tool. Okay, so I'll tell you what is BPM tool and everything. Okay, in definition itself, we have BPM as a business process and management tool. Okay, so when I say what is business in the sense, will come one requirement. Okay, let's say business come up with a one requirement. We want some credit card application. Okay, so when I say credit card, what does it means? Like they are doing some paperwork. Okay, so they're filling forms and they're like filling forms and they're submitting forms in their banks to apply credit card. So to avoid this paperwork, so they ask us a solution to build an application. Okay, so that is a business which is nothing but a requirement. Okay, so then once we captured an information, I mean once user fill that form. Okay, what are the form they have filled in paper, so they used to give some bank employee rate. So then based on that information which he mentioned it in the employee, so the bank employee will take some further actions, right? So this workflow, whatever the workflow they are doing in a manually, we can do it in a BPM workflows. Okay, so we'll get a requirement, we'll design some processes. Okay, If you guys have an idea about this flow charts and all, like you have to start, like once the process got started, you have to take that details from user. Okay, so customer provided that user information. So once customer provided, so they'll have some decision taking, they'll have some calculations works, and they'll have some extra works, right? Once the customer gave their details, so that kind of work we'll do in the calculation process part, which is called processing. In this processing part, we'll take the information and we'll do validations and we'll calculate. And if there is any authorized or approvals from supervisors, we can give this information as a task to that particular person. Okay, even if someone is not completing their work and on time, we can escalate all these parts. We can do it in the process level only. So once every process is done, we can manage the data in databases. So that's where I have asked you to ask you guys to learn database basics as well. I'll not say you need to know more in database. It will be good. You need to know like how the database will hold the data, how will store the database data in tables and views and all. So we'll have the database sessions as well, but it will be good if you have minimum knowledge. Okay, since an APN is a front-end application, sometimes we have there are some situations we are going to write some information in database tables, and there are some situations you are going to show that information to the UI screens as well.
Okay, Srisha. Okay, got it.
Any questions from anyone? Okay, and by the way, so there we have the course content as well, which I have covered, like what we are going to discuss on demo session. I'll just quickly go through the course content as well. Okay, what we are going to cover in this APN sessions. Okay, in this complete APN sessions, what will taught you by using APN application, how you can build one application by using APN develop or APN tool, how you can build any application. Okay, so at the end of the course, you'll be able to develop one application on your own. Okay, so in front of you, I'm going to taught you like how I'm developing an applications, and I'll tell you the inputs how what we'll do in real time scenarios and as well. Okay, so I'll go through all these points. Okay, for initially, I'll tell you like what are the requirement. For example, when you're going to practice on Java, you need some tools, right? When you're going to practice on some Android or some other React app, some other technologies, you need some pre-installations or pre-tools, right? So what kind of requirements is required for you to practice APN? Okay, so that's I'm going to cover in the system requirements. Okay, then we'll have a design overview. Designer in the sense, because by using APN application, we are going to design one application, right? So we'll have some designer page. On that designer page, how we'll use the designer page, what and all will use in real time, I'm going to cover in the designer overview. Okay, so there is a name called tempo. You'll come across this word as well in future. But what is tempo actually? Once you have built that application, business people will use that application, right? So most of the business people will use that application in tempo phase only. So I'll explain you what is the tempo phase and how business will use the tempo phase as well. Okay, and before going to create an application, we need to set up some environment in administrator level, right? System application administrator level. Okay, so what and all we'll do it in real time. I'm going to cover you on admin console. And so up to this admin console, you will be having theory sessions only. Okay, so you'll be able to see everything, but it's purely on theory session. Once you have created application, you'll be able to see all your application actions in tempo and admin console as well. So up to admin console, you'll be having theory sessions. From application creation, you will be practicing along with me. Clear? Up to module 1, up to admin console, sorry.
Sorry, can you repeat it again? Like your voice was not clear in my like I'm having some trouble with my network issue. Sorry for that.
That's okay. That's okay. You are able to see my course content, right? Whatever I'm showing.
Yeah, I can see, but the voice was not clear from my side, so that's
Okay,
why.
okay. Okay. And so initially system requirements, we have the system requirements in the sense when you are going to practice or Python or Java or any other technologies, you need some predefined tools, right, to install in your OS and all. So you need to install some tools and you need to do some, you need to get some, for few applications, you need to get some license and permissions as well. So to practice APN, okay, for your practice APN and to learn APN, what kind of requirements you need to have. So all these things we are going to discuss in system requirements, and this system requirements and we are going to cover today only. Okay, and coming to designer overview. Okay, so as I said, APN is an application development tool. So we are going to develop one application on APN by using APN technology. So we have some designer base on development. Okay, so in that phase I'm going to explain you how to design an application. There are few things which you need to know how in real time we'll use the designer phase. So in the on the designer overview phase I'm going to tell you all the tabs how we are using. Okay, and we have I'm moving to tempo explanation. This tempo explanation is something, once you have built an application, obviously business people will use this application, right? So mostly they'll use from tempo page only. We'll be having one page called tempo. From there only business people will use this application. I'll walk you through how it will be, how the tempo, how the things will come to tempo and how people will use the tempo. Okay, and before going to set up or before going to create any application or before going to start any application, we need to set up few things on admin console, which is administrator. I think every application will have it, this administrator setup things. So what we'll do in APN, I'm going to cover in the admin console topic. Okay, so up to admin console topic you will be having theory sessions only. Okay, most will have theory sessions. You'll be able to see like will be I'll be telling you like in system requirements, I'll tell you like how to set up an environment and how can you practice and all. So you'll be able to see all those things, whatever the explanations and whatever the theory I'm sharing, you can see that things. From application creation you are going to practice along with me. Okay, so whatever the application which I'm creating and whatever the work which I'm doing and which I'm showing you in the classes, you are going to practice these classes. And along with the classes I'm going to give you some tasks and I'm going to tell you some other courses which you need to cover as well, which is not any other technology, which is a part of APN, and I'm going to give that task to you as well. Okay, and where it is an application creation, I am going to tell you like how to create an application, how to create one application in APN technology or APN tool. Okay, by using APN technologies, how can you create one application? I'm going to tell you an application creation part. Okay, if I move to APN groups and securities and folders, we have a concept called groups and security, because at the end if you build any application, security is must and should. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how will provide security for application and how will provide security for data and all. Okay, so this is up to module 1. Most of the part in module 1 you'll be having theory sessions. From application creation you'll be having practice sessions as well. Any questions up to module 1?
No,
No,
I'm clear.
Sirisha. Thank you.
No, I'm clear. Thank you.
Okay, then I'm moving. Yeah, sorry.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Pruvi. And now I'm moving to module 2. Okay, in this module 2, you are going to like we have like I'm just telling orally. So as part of module 1 up to this, you are going you have created one application container, right? So in that application, like for example, we are going to build one credit card application. Let's say one credit card application. So in credit card application we need to build some UIs, right? When user or when customer is coming and filling their forms, so we need to build some UIs. UI is something user interface, we call it as a user interface. The people who are not aware, I'm telling that. So user interface is something when you are opening in a mobile application, like when you're opening any net banking application or something, sometimes you used to fill that forms, right? Whatever the forms which you are filling, so the same forms we are going to build it in APN. Okay, so I'll just walk you through like how can you build an app interfaces. Okay, how can you build an UI in APN. Okay, so in that part only you will come to know when some, for example, I'll show you one thing. Let me show you quickly. I'll show you one
Hello,
thing.
hello.
Yes, yes.
Sirisha, you said like in application layer, in an application we can build a user interface by using this APN tool. Can we use this application for web development as well, for designer, for UI, for the UI?
Yes, we can build that. We don't have much restrictions. We can do it, but as I said, it's mostly B2C also is there. But the only problem is in B2C, the security part still APN is working. Okay, it's something like you can access from anyone can access that. So that security one is still spending from APN. It's still working. But if you are going to develop as a B2B application, you can build it.
Okay, so B2B application on website we can do with this tool, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
That's what you are saying, right?
yes.
Okay,
Even B2C also we are able to build now. The only problem with B2C is something like we have some problem like limitations, right? We cannot show our client information or some information we cannot expose directly without security and validations or authentication. But in B2C it's happening. Like we need to do some other security things also. Like still APN is working on that, so hope so in future we'll be able to build the same whatever B2C was able
oh,
to do it.
it's in under work actually, I
Yes,
guess.
it's an under work. It's still it's like now B2C how we are using, like if there is any reports, okay. So we'll have some report generations, right? When I say reports, in ID we used like whatever the transactions they have made, they wanted in report format, right? A pie chart or line chart, in a statistical reports. When I say it's a statistical reports, whatever in general terminology also. So that kind of reports and all we are building it in B2C, because there is no data expo you'll be able to see in a percentage or report manner only. But in, so there are some situations we need to expose data, so that part still working on undergoing.
Okay, 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 thank you. I got you.
Okay, so I'm just opening one ad vehicle, so I'll let you know what is this actions and all. So now we are able to see one form, right? Like this is one, let's assume this is one form, okay? So which was builded and which was developed in APN. By using APN UIs, we have designed this, okay? In this form, you are entering some data and some model and some year which was designed and everything. Okay, so we are going to in module 2 we are going to tell you and taught you like how to build that UIs. Okay, so there are some situation in while building then a UI you need to capture and you need to hold that data. Whatever the customer is entering the data, you need to hold it right somewhere. So that capturing part and like how we need to do and how we'll write that data in DB, and we are going to cover in module 2. Okay, so this complete part is this this complete module is will talk about interface design, and how we'll design that interface, how we'll capture that, how we'll collect the information from user, and how we'll store, I mean how we'll hold that information. For example, when you have entered the model number, some test, when you are moving to 20 years, so this is holding the test value still, right? Even though you are moving to another field, so how we are holding that things. So all these things we are going to discuss. Okay, so up to this part you are going to be there in interface only. Okay, so after once you have designed an interface, whatever the information which you have collected, you need to store somewhere, right? So you are capturing and you are holding it up to this part, but you are not going to write or load this information somewhere. Okay, so we have some other concepts to collect a database system and our application system. Okay, see, I said it's a front end application tool. Okay, so we'll be able to capture that information. It's just in a workflow, it will be able to capture, but it will not be able to store the data. Okay, so for sure we need to use our databases, like we have some database, so there we need to store all our information. Okay, in this topics, how we can connect APN and database. Okay, so both are different, right? How we can connect from one front end application and one back end application in APN, I'm going to cover here. So up to this part you'll be able to design, by this module too you'll be able to design one interface, and you'll be able to capture and store that information. Okay, and in this session you'll be able to see like how can we connect APN and database as well. Okay, so and I think there itself we'll cover few basic concepts, and you'll have separate SQL, but as up to the requirement how much is necessary for APN, I'm going to cover. For you guys there are some SQL sessions as well, you'll be having with some other trainer. Okay, no worries, but as part of the application development how much is required I'm going to cover in the DB concepts. Clear up to module 2?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so thank you for that confirmation. And I'm quickly moving to module 3, and I'm telling you module 3, module 4, and module 5 is on same concept, which is a very important concept on APN. Okay, because whatever that, see, as I said, I'm telling you that it's an a workflow, like how we are, like how we'll have this flow chart, like start and go and open this interface and get the data and go and write in some database. So we need to tell this, it's an automation tool, right? You need to tell to the workflow how to behave. Okay, so that part we are going to do it in a process model. We have one concept called process model. Okay, in this process model we are going to design something. I'll show you one process model for you, like how it looks. For example, so there is one process model. Okay, this process model looks like this. Okay, get the information, then take some what information they have entered, so we'll have decision and we are going to write some data. So this kind of workflows we can build in process model. Okay, this is how we'll build in workflows in APN as well. So we are using process model. So what and all we'll use and how we'll use and all this concept we are going to cover. If something wrong, how to debug, so all the debugging things and all, so we are going to cover in module 3. Okay, so how like in interface whatever the information which you are entering, how it's passing to a process model, you need to transfer, right? What are the information which you have collected on the screen, you need to transfer that to database. Okay, there must be a one mediator or workflow you have to design, right? So how to process that data from interface to process model, so which we are going to cover in the module 3. Okay, so based on the information which user have entered, we need to take some decisions. Okay, for example, if I let's say if I open this screen, if I open this, if I click on the add vehicle, so this information has to go and sit somewhere, or if I cancel this button, it has to end the workflow, something like that. So that kind of decision control we can do it by in process model. So we have a gateways topic, so which there we are going to cover about the gateways, how to use and all. Okay, and we have a concept called parent process and child process. You'll come to know on the subject like how we'll use and all. So we'll have a parent workflow and child workflow. So how we are connecting that things, and we are going to discuss on the module 4. Any questions so far? Stop me if you guys are not understanding anything.
We are good, Sirisha. Thank you.
Thank you. And when I'm moving to module 5, as I said, like APN is a workflow, right? There are some things, let's say, for example, in leave management, okay, one employee has applied their leave. Okay, once they have applied a leave, so there will be a manager work to either approve or reject, or manager or HR, right? So there are some task assignments, we call it as a tasks. because so employee fill their form, but it's a manager work. So when I say work, it's a task to manager, right? It's a task assignment. So we have such kind of assignments in APN as well. Okay, if they didn't complete the task, we can send reminders in general terminologies. I could say we can send escalations as well to send complete this work in business flow. So we can do that, and we have some concept called exceptions. When I say exceptions means if there is one task you have assigned to the manager, okay, so you no need to wait, or you no need to wait for that work to complete. You can skip that work and you can go. So if there is any such kind of requirements, how can exceptions you need to configure and all, we are going to discuss in module 5. Okay, so there are some assignments concept when you are assigning a one task. So there are some assignments concept which we are going to cover all these assignments and exceptions and task reminders, how can we send, and all these things we are going to cover in module 5. Okay. See, up to this, I think by the time you have completed module 5, you will be able to create one interface, okay, one UI, which is user or end user is saying, filling the forms and all. So you'll be able to create one screen, and you'll be able to capture that information, and you'll be able to write that information in one database tables, one database. Okay. So by the module 5, you will be able to do all these things. Okay. So once I'm moving to module 6. Okay, so once information is right, once you're writing that information in database tables, there are some requirements, like once you have collected a information, you need to do some calculations and all. Okay, so to do that calculations and to show that information to user, we have a concept called expression rules. Okay, in that expression rules, what you can do, you are able to query that, I mean whatever the information which you have stored earlier, you can call that information back and you can do the calculation whatever you want. Okay, in this part you are going to do that. Okay, so there is another topic called grids, which is the read only grid and editable grid. So read only grid in the sense, how users, for example, I say leave management. Okay, so I wanted to know what leave I have applied. For example, I have applied one leave. Okay, so this information must be stored in somewhere, right? So user wanted to show that information. What I think in your general applications also you can see that whatever I have leave applied, how many are approved, how many are pending. So this kind of record maintenance, or grid or table format information, if you wanted to see, you'll be able to see in on, we can create some kind of grids. We call it as a grid concept. In that grid we can show whatever the information which we have already stored in database. We can query that data and we can show to the user in a understandable format. Okay, and there are other concepts as well. Sometimes for example, I have applied one sick leave, but I should not apply that leave. Okay, so if I wanted to edit my data, okay, if I wanted to edit or if I wanted to change my data, so there are concepts called editable grid. How can you edit your information in a structured format? Okay, so which we are going to do it at editable grid. In the editable grid itself, you can you'll come to know few smart services. When I say smart services, instead of native workflow, I mean process model interface, how can you write, how can you connect a database directly? Okay, so we'll have multiple ways to connect database. Okay, I'll tell you which is best and which is recommended. So I'll tell you why we are going this smart services and why we are using process model as well. So I'll cover you out. Okay, so by this time you will come to know few functions, few smart services, few objects, and everything how we use in APN. Okay, there are some other important functions as well, because when I'm creating a application in front of you, maybe I must use few functions only. So there are some other functions which are important you guys to know. So I'll walk you through how we can use that application functions as well. So there are a concept called records and reports as well. So what is records in the sense? It's a simple general word. When you are filling a form, it's a one record, right? So you need to show it in one. We have a concept called record. In that record, you are going to see all your records, whatever you fill that form, whatever you had did, what like where it is exactly, what you whether it is updated or not. So all kind of information we can create one record. We have an object called record. So in this session, you are going to build one record. How can we build in records in APN? Okay, and we have reports as well, as I told you earlier. So we in banking and all, they have some transactions. Okay, so when they have some transactions, they want some statistical reports. Okay, so in that kind of time, like how can we build reports in APN? Okay, so all these points we are going to cover in reports part. Okay, so I think up to module 9 you will be able to build an application end to end. Okay, there are few components like we'll use based on the requirement. Okay, up to this by this concept you'll be able to build one application by end to end. Okay, and see, once we have developed an application, for sure we need to promote an another environments. Okay, so usually we'll have in IT minimum four environment, which is development environment, where we'll develop our applications, and testing environment, where a testing team will test our application. Okay, there it could be functional testing or it could be automation testing. Okay, and there are some non-production, I mean pre-prod environment, which is almost similar to our production environment, like end users user environment, and we'll have a production environment as well. Okay, so minimum these four environments will have. Okay, so whatever the application which you have built it in development environment, you need to move this code or move this application to all these four remaining three environment. Okay, so how in APN will do, how we'll do that deployment, we call it as a deployment process. Okay, so how we'll deploy our code to other environments, we are going to discuss in this module. Okay, so up to this part is up to internal APN itself. Okay, so there are some other concepts called web API and integrations. Okay, which is also this important and interesting topic as well. Okay, because see, in IT, we can't do a complete work in using one technology. So there are some situation you need to expose your data to external systems, or you need to get some data from the external system. So in that situations, how we'll connect with external systems or external applications and all, we'll be covering in web API and integrations topic. Okay, so at the end, actually we should cover architecture first, but in my point, if I explain architecture in initial thing also, you're not understanding what is this interface layer and all these things. So that's why we thought that we can put it this architecture topic at end. Okay, so there are some advanced concepts as well. Once you guys are familiar with all these concepts, we have another advanced concept sessions as well. So once it is done, we are going to start that. Any questions so far? Am I clear?
Hi, Srish.
Yeah. Hi, Lakshmi.
So by the end of this course, we can able to be a expert in BPM, one BPM tool. So we can a developer in that area. So that's what.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. By the end of this course, you will be able to develop one application in APN for sure.
Okay.
Because what I'll not take the theory sessions more. Hardly you'll have 5 to 6. 1 week you'll be having theory sessions. So once theory sessions is completed, I'm going to create an application in front of you guys while I'm taking the 1 hour session, right? In front of you guys only, I'm going to design our application. Okay, along with me, you are going to practice that session, and I am going to give some other courses or some other topics to practice also. So you need to do both the things. So if you do and if you put your efforts, for sure you'll be able to develop an application.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Sirisha. I have a question.
Yes.
The test environment, I mean, the environment which we can get
Mhm.
from Appian, will you be giving us the environment or how is it like?
See, as a developer, we no need to do anything. This environment setup and everything will be taken care by client and leads only.
No,
Okay.
no, no.
So
I'm not asking about the real-time thing. I'm asking for now for the practice sessions.
yes, yes.
Because
I'm going to cover that one. I said right, we are going to discuss the system requirements as well today. And that system requirement, I'm going to tell you few things which everyone should do. So if you do that, you will get one practice environment from APN. So you can practice there.
okay, okay, sure.
In the worst case, if you did, because I should accept this, but no recent days because of some traffic issues in APN, it's taking some time to get that personal site. If that is the case, we have our site we have site, so we'll give you that site for practice in the worst case.
Yeah,
So
so
don't worry, I'll prevent the.
yeah, so
Sorry.
after your demo session, I was just going through the site and I just created an account and did everything. So where I went
Okay.
and I requested for the environment, but it said that due to heavy traffic, it is going to take much time. So
Yes, yes.
didn't do it.
Actually, this is not with you. I think it's across all the APN communities facing this issue because there are so many people are learning APN now. Okay, so everyone is requesting for a new site. So it's taking some time. Even one of my friends, she tried for 1 or 2 weeks, and finally she got that site. So we'll be getting that site, but it's taking some time. It's
Okay. Yeah,
so, but that's okay. You don't need to worry. If that is the case, we'll be going to give you an aside for practice as well.
sure, sure. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the part actually I'm going to cover in the next topic. I think you have covered that. Okay, hope I have answered for our questions. If yes, I can move to the system requirement part. Today I'm not talking anything about technical one. I'm not going to show anything. So today only we are talking about, we'll talk in the system requirements. What is the tools which you need to be there and how can you create your account in APN and all I'm going to tell. That's it. Okay. Okay. So hope you guys are seeing my PPT screens. Yes, no.
Yes, Sarisha, we are able to see your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Coming to see, we have all right. You are now ready to practice and ready to learn and everything in APN, right? So before going to learn, you should know, or you like it's in real time also. We should be aware like how many types of APN is supporting, right? System requirements you need to have. Okay, so usually APN will support for in a two ways. Like we have an on cloud tools also. Let's say what is on cloud in the sense, though, so they'll be having some infrastructures like AWS, Microsoft, and Google. They will be having some cloud platforms. So we are going to use that platform to hold our APN in that platforms. Okay. So there are on cloud applications and there are on premises applications. Okay. When I say what is on premises means, so we'll be having a name. We'll be most of the few people are aware or a few people are not aware. We'll be having this VDS virtual missions and all in our real time things. Okay, so there are few applications like banking and all. Okay, what client feels they wanted to be because before going to this, APN will support banking, finance, insurance, transport, all these sectors APN will support, and APN we can build these applications. Okay, so in few clients wants to be secure their data more. Okay, so what they feel in cloud, the like sometimes if there is some issues with cloud, there must be a data leakage, they'll feel like that. So in some that kind of thing, so clients will ask their data must be safe, so they want on-premises application. Okay, what on-premise application in the sense? So APN will give some KFC files. Okay, APN will give some file. Okay, we need to install that files in our local machines. Okay, so we need to install that in our local machines, and there we need to use. Okay, it's not like they're in cloud. Okay, so there are on cloud applications as well, so you no need to install anything in VM anything. So you need to simply, you need to have simply Chrome and internet access. Okay, so in Chrome you can put that URL, and you can provide your credentials and you can access that particular environment. So that is on cloud version. Okay, so there are some supporting web browsers. Okay, if you are using Microsoft Edge or mobile, like Chrome or anything, so these are the supporting windows we should have in APN. Okay, it's like only Windows 10. If you're going to Microsoft Edge 78th version, you need to have your operating system should be in your laptop as Windows 10. Okay, if you're using Google Chrome, so you can access APN applications from this browser from anywhere. Okay, but what they are recommended is Google Chrome should be update. Okay, then your what if you're using Microsoft Edge? Okay, if it is version 78, you need to have this Windows 10. All these things mostly will use Google Chrome. Okay, but this is something which I need to tell. If you are using any Apple Safari and all, so you need to have this Mac operating systems on your laptop, on your PCs and all. Okay, if you are using directly Chrome, since it's updates automatically, you no need to worry. Okay, so these are the minimum requirements, so you no need to install anything on your laptop. So the only requirement which you need to have is internet access and Google Chrome. If you have that, you'll be able to learn APN. Okay, so usually we'll be having one site. Okay, before going to that, I would like to guys, we have a name called APN community. Okay, so if you open this community tab, APN community, if you search an APN community in Google, okay, you will be landing this page. Okay, so here you will be able to see sign in or the people who are first time registering or creating account here, I would recommend to go and register your account first. So you'll be having a register now. Okay, if I just come back, so simple as other application, how it will be. If you are already signed, if you are already having registered, you can provide the credentials. Otherwise you can register now. Okay, so you need to provide credentials, and you need to provide your email address and registered email address and password and everything. So once you have set up this, you will be getting one verification mail to your registered email address. Okay, so I'm not going to cover that. So you just try to register. If it is not working, you can show it me on tomorrow session. I'll clear that doubt. Okay, so you'll be getting this verification mail. So once you got that verification mail, you need to set up some authentications, like you guys have this Microsoft authenticator or else SMS authentication we can set up. If we have Android, iPhone mobile, there are some other iPhone something is there, I was not aware that one. So but mostly I'll prefer either do either via email or via SMS. Okay, so because if you do that, whenever you forgot your uh, password, or when you are going to log in for the next time, you need to that use that code. Okay, so once you have signed in, okay, let me show you. Just this is I forgot that credentials, but once you have signed in, it will be asking verification code. Okay, and that verification code you need to enter whatever the message you have got. Okay, so to do that, you need to verify that mail. So you need to set up like how you want that verification code and all. So you need to set up that environment. Okay, so once you have signed in, okay, once you have signed in, You'll be able to see same page, APN community. I will drop it somewhere. So once you have signed in, I'll show you how the site will looks tomorrow. Okay, so you'll be getting site something like this, some with this HZCF. APN.community, you need to request for site. Once you have signed in, you'll be having profile, right? On the profile tab, you need to request it. Just check the credentials if possible. Where is this? So then can just how it was saved actually. So you are able to see, right? Send me an authentication, verify authentication code. So you'll be getting a code like this. Okay. So you'll be getting code like this. So he has configured a mail as a verification code. So you can put your message as a mobile as well. Once you have verified, we are going to log into the APN community. Okay. So here you could see its profile, right? So if you're going to profile, yeah, here we go. So you'll be having this my community edition site. Okay, so initially you'll not be having this. You need to request here. You need to in this right side page, you'll be having something like this my community edition. Okay, there you need to request for site for practice like this. Okay, if you request, you need to tell like region is US, and once you have submitted that, so APN will send a mail with this practice site and what is the username and the password you need to log into that practice site. Okay, so you need to do that. Clear? Any questions?
Hello?
Yes, Rahul.
What's the reason we have to mention at the time of requesting the site?
I think you guys need to mention US.
Okay.
Okay, so this is profile part. Okay, so when I'm going to this other page called, we have a community, right? So once you have registered to APN community, so APN itself providing few things like we have documentation. Okay, we have documentation for APN. Okay, you don't need to do for APN searching and anything. APN itself is having their own documentation. Okay, if you wanted to learn anything, okay, if you wanted to learn anything about one function, okay, if you are not aware how to use some append function, let's say one function called append function, okay, if you search with that, APN itself will provide you with examples how can you use that, okay, okay. So not only function, okay, so whatever the APN features is having, for everything APN will prepare the documentation for that, okay. So you can find everything in the APN documentation, okay. So it's something our knowledge book, okay. So we have some community discussion community as well, okay. So you can go from discuss, or like you can here also you can go. We have discussion tab, okay. If in your real time, okay, not the post your training also, if you are going to real time, if you have any question, for example you got one requirement but in documentation also you didn't find that like solution for that requirement, okay, you didn't find any function or any plugin or any smart service for that requirement, you can post that question here. Our community people who are aware about things, so people respond for your question on that, okay. So we have the community discussion tab as well. All APN community people will can answer for these questions, okay. So this is the major like majorly will use in this community tab, this document one and this discussion, I mean whatever I have said, like discussion one will use more. And there is an app market as well for APN, okay. So what this app market is do, whatever the new component they are announcing or they are releasing, so they'll introduce all these things in this app market. So you can see all these things here, what are the features which APN is there. So all the things you can do this in app, you will be able to see in app market, okay. So in documentation and support is something in real time will use some, for example APN is announces something, okay, but if it is not working as expected, if you are facing something, so you can see all these questions and you can raise concerns here also, okay. And this is something success part, APN will show all like what they have reached and what goals they have done and all these things they'll use. And learn part, this is where actually will use, okay. APN itself is having this own academy as well, okay, not only documentation. So documentation is something theoretically you will be see, but APN is something having holding their own academy, okay. In that academy, whenever they have announced any requirement, whenever they have announced any new feature, so they'll be providing documentation as well, and they'll give detailed video explanation as well, okay. So you'll be finding it in APN academy. So I said, right, along with my course I'm going to give you some other courses, so that courses you'll be finding in APN academy. I'll show you where it will be, okay. So this is like Keely will use I mean majorly will use the space documentation one and learn one, okay. So these are the two pages we'll use more. In learn you'll be going to the academy, in documentation you'll be finding your for every documented, for every function with documentation and example. Clear? Any questions, any doubts?
Yeah, thank you, Surisha. So, the today class, are you sharing the notes, or is that something they need to note down while session is going on,
uh,
or will you share any documentation?
Actually, today's session we don't have any documentation. Today's session is completely how to create an account in APN only. So I have shown them. So in future classes, along with my session, if there is any documentation is required to read, like they have gone through, I'll share the links on the session itself.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much.
And today's session is completely set up in an account only. You guys you everyone should have the APN community account. Okay, that's a mandatory. If you don't have site, if you didn't get that practice site also, that's fine. But APN community account is mandatory for you guys. Because for getting create site creation it's taking time from APN. We can't do anything, it's an APN issue. They're saying they're having some heavy traffic, okay. We'll be getting that practice sites also, but it will take some time. But by the time you guys have to create and you have to set up an account in APN. because in future you will be going to do some courses and some activities, so you need to have that account.
Got it. Yeah, I'll work with the team and I'll make sure they have the account. Okay.
Okay, okay, Bharat, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Once you have shown you that site creation, like how we'll get that practice environment, right? Bharat, actually the problem here is we'll be having a practice sites, okay, practice environment APN itself is providing earlier. Now there is some problem with APN, so because of heavy traffic, it's getting time. It's taking time to create that environment, practice environment. I just want the list of the people who didn't get that account. Like we can set up account, but that practice environment it will take some time to get. So I just want if people doesn't get that, then we can create one account and we can give the permission to in that environment for practice.
Yeah, I'll coordinate with the people and then I'll make sure if somebody is able to log in, okay, and those who are not, I'll take their names and I'll give their email address.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for today. So once you have done account setup and everything done, so from tomorrow we are going to start our technical sessions. Bharat.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sirisha. You can share the recording to me and